switched your kickoffs in the second half where you were spinning the kick. Was that the result of them returning the ball or getting better field position? Or what?
Yeah, we weren't kicking the ball real well deep, and it was hurting our coverage, so we just decided we were going to knock it down. We had done it early in the year. Probably should have done it a couple more times, but certainly worked for us in the second half.
Chip, that fourth down play, Marcus looked like he was sacked for a minute, got away. How big was that? You guys go and get that go-ahead touchdown from there?
There were a lot of big plays, and certainly that was a huge one for us. But you know, that's what we come to expect out of him. He's I've said it before. He's just a special kid that, you know, when he's got to make a play, he just somehow seems to make it. And it did look like he was sacked, but you know, somehow he squirts out and we get it exactly right at the right distance and, you know, convert. But that was huge for us in those situations. You know, when you get the ball over midfield, we're probably going to go for it. It's too long for us to kick a field goal when, you know, the yardage, I think it was on a 38 or something. So, you know, you're only going to get 18 yards if it rolls into the end zone on the red zone punt. So we felt like it was a good situation to go for. We wouldn't mind putting our defense on the field in that situation, but we know with putting the ball in his hands, hopefully something good's going to happen. So.
What did D'Anthony show you with pretty much a full load once it came out with him?
You know, we know what he can do. You know, the one thing that we've always been fortunate is we got a couple really good players at that position. So you know, there's only one ball. You know, it's the same thing when Michael was down a little bit last year and Kenyon had to step up. We've got some depth, fortunately, at that position. So, you know, if Kenyon was out for a little bit there at the end of the first half, and you know, when you can bring 6 off the bench, you know, it's a huge boost for us. So.
Can you talk about how your kids responded to his first loss in like a year?
I thought they did pretty good.
You mentioned your defense. You got 4 interceptions today. Did you have something in mind when you came into this game that you kind of?
No, you never have, you know, a number or whatever it is. But our defense has been opportunistic. I think they lead the country in turnovers caused, you know, and that's one of the fortes of what we do as a group. You know, those guys are a bunch of ball hawks back there. And Kiko had another one. You know, he seems like he's always around the football. I thought Brian Jackson made some really good plays. Our safeties made some really good plays. And we knew going into the game that they had 2 outstanding receivers, in Wheaton and Cooks, and that was going to be a big matchup for us. So.
Chip, after struggling a little bit the last couple of weeks with the run, what did you guys do to especially free up Kenyon in the first half?
We ran the same plays we ran every week.
What was the difference then?
We blocked them better.
You're 4-0 now as a head coach in this rivalry. Rivalry means a lot to people of this state, aside from the obvious just winning the game. Does it have a little special meaning for you to be undefeated in this game 4 years straight?
Yeah, this has a huge meaning for us. Washington game has a huge meaning for us. You know, we're undefeated against every team in the conference except for Stanford and USC. So all of those we take with a lot of pride. But you know, you could tell for some reason the fans don't seem like they like us very much when we come up here, and that's okay. But I think our guys do a great job of being able to block that out and playing against a real good team and executing against a good team. That was a good defense that we were able to run the football on, and to be able to keep Cooks and Wheaton kind of at bay a little bit, I think, you know, really talks about the preparation that these guys had. And I knew it Monday when we went back to work on Monday that we had a great week of practice and a great week of preparation, and that's what paid off for us. So.
Seems like a few results to try to kind of block out there. You mentioned the focus, I mean, bouncing back from last week, but also the other dominoes that might fall later today that I'm sure you wanted you guys not thinking about when they took the field. How did you feel about the level of focus and kind of where you guys were at mentally when the game kicked off?
Good question. I thought they were great, you know, and dominoes meant nothing if we didn't take care of business. So that means, and really, you know, you can't be a scoreboard watcher. You got to go out and play. If we didn't win today, it meant nothing. So I think those guys understood what do we worry about, what do we control. And that's the big thing with this group is let's just focus on what we can control. And what we can control was, you know, our effort and attitude and preparation for Oregon State, and they took care of that, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Chip, did you sense that even though the score got lopsided, that Oregon State was a much improved team just on the field? Did it? What you've seen?
Yeah, I've always thought they're a good football team. I think Mike does a hell of a job. Mike's a great football coach, and there's some players out there that are the top players in our conference. And when you see them live and in person, you know, they were as good as advertised. So.
You mentioned the guys up front. You challenge them in particular at all this week? How were they able to kind of rally from the last couple weeks?
Honestly, we didn't change. You can ask our guys. We do the same things Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, and again, I give Stanford credit. I thought they played really well. You know, and that's what I told our guys. I thought Stanford played well. But you know, that's in the past. Let's move on. You know, the great thing about this team is, you know, they've lost 3 conference games in 4 years. You know, and they've never lost back-to-back games. So we got a great group of leaders. The older guys have been fantastic. And there's, you know, it's not speeches or rah-rah stuff and all that stuff. That stuff doesn't last. You know, it's about putting your time in and doing your work during the week, and it pays off for you on Saturday. So.
Chip, you obviously can't control what happens from here, but how much will you be paying attention to what happens the rest of the day?
No, you got to pay attention. I mean, we got to know if we're practicing tomorrow or not. You know, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, oh, wait, did that happen? You know, we got to go back to the office and start breaking down UCLA tape. And if UCLA is fortunate to win, then we're playing next Friday night. So, you know, we have a plan in place, and we already know our schedule and what time we're working out tomorrow morning, what time we're lifting, what time we're position meetings and whatnot. And that all hinges on the Stanford game. So, but we have a plan in place. If Stanford were to lose, we got to be ready to go to work tomorrow morning. So,
You have a birthday celebration in place?
no, I got a game to get ready for.
You text with Lane Kiffin, you text anybody else saying go get him?
No, and that was, Kiff texted me about my trip to Africa and thought it was a really cool thing, and his wife wanted to be a part of it, and I just wished him good luck this week, so, you know.
Can you talk about the group of seniors and what they meant for the program in the last 4 years?
Yeah, they've been fantastic, you know, that group of guys, the Michael Clays and Dion and Kenyon and Nick Cody and Isaac Remington. There's a lot of guys in there, but, you know, I don't know, I think it's 45-7 in the last 4 years, you know, 3 conference losses in 4 years. It's a special group of guys, and not only are they great football players, they've done an unbelievable job of what we call culture keepers, of making sure the young guys understand how we go about things, how we do things, and why we do things, and they've been fantastic. It's a special group. And
then specifically in this game, you guys really turned it on in the second half. What was that a result of?
You know, we stuck to our plan, you know, and I think usually that's what happens to us is an opportunity to wear some people down. We ran some plays in the first half, so had some numbers on our side. You know, we had close to 300 yards at halftime rushing, and that wears people down during the course of a game. And, you know, eventually things are going to break, you know, and that's what happened, and that's always been kind of our MO. So.
When you see games that are lost in this conference, up and down, all the time, back to back, 3 in a row, whatever the case may be, do these kids ever surprise you that they have not put themselves in that situation really in 4 years?
No, they don't surprise me because I see them every day, you know, and that's the one thing that I think we're fortunate to have is that we have a bunch of guys, and I said it last Saturday that I would know how we would be when I see them on Monday, and on Monday, you know, they were good. You know, I think, honestly, I think our coaches were worse on Sunday than, myself included, you know, than our guys were, but, you know, they forget a lot quicker than we do. I think the things last with us a lot longer, but we shook it off Sunday. They didn't see us Sunday, which was a good thing. But you know, I went into work on 4:30 Sunday morning, so I wasn't. We couldn't have practiced anyways. I wasn't very good that day. So, but we shook off the rust, and those guys gave us great energy. And as a staff, we put together. I think our offensive staff and defensive staff put really good plans together. You know, in terms of how to attack these guys. And you know, we were fortunate to get where we are. We're 11-1, and we got 1 league loss, and we'll see if that's good enough. But again, it's on us because we put it in someone else's hands. So, you know, we'll be cheering like hell for UCLA, but we really have no outcome on we have no bearing on the outcome of that game, I can tell you that. So.
Chip, it's too late for Stanford or UCLA to hear this. So how do you see that game? When do you see it happening?
You know, I really don't know. I think it'll be interesting, Dwight. It's a good question. You know, I think Hogan's done a really nice job for those guys, and it's a different element with him back there because he can keep plays alive. I haven't seen that much of UCLA. I really got to kind of look at them defensively because we didn't play them this year. So, but you know, they can generate a rush with Barr and some of those guys in Kendrick, so they're pretty good on the defensive side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see how Jonathan Franklin and their group match up against a real good front for Stanford. So,
You're not going to pick a win.
I couldn't tell you because I just don't know enough about them. So, I mean, if I'll go out on a limb and pick UCLA because that's what I'm rooting for, but I really don't know if who's going to win that game. So.
Hey, Chip, what can you say about your defense? You're really solid games.
Yeah, I think our defense, you know, really responded after the USC game. You know, I think down the stretch here, you know, and playing a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball, I think those guys, they just came to play, and it's a group that got some great core leaders, you know, in Kiko and Michael and Dion, and we're still kind of young in some spots, especially in the secondary after losing John and Avery. So, but they just kept going back out the field and battling. It was, you know, it was going back and forth there for a couple of things, but all of a sudden the turnover wave started, and you know, it was big. You know, those guys really kind of making stops from a turnover aspect, I think was huge for us today. So.
Undefeated on the road. How much does the USC loss last year, Stanford loss last week stick with you? We're getting the hard ones and missing those. Those are tough games at home, but missing those home ones.
Yeah, they hurt. They all stick with us. The Stanford game in November 7th, 2009 sticks with you too. You know, it's, every loss you have hurts, but I think it's a testament to these guys that to be great in this conference, we always talk about being able to win on the road, and this group has done have one road loss in 4 years. But again, I think, you know, it's individual games. There's reasons for it to happen. We let USC get out to too big a lead. We had 2 critical fumbles in the red zone. We had a blocked punt in that game. You know, and we had about 1,000,000 plays last week that we could have made. I could have made. We were 4 of 17 on 3rd down last week and 0 for 2 on 4th down. You know, I got to make better calls in those situations. So, do those games stick with you? Yeah, they stick with you.
Unfinished business, still unfinished?
What's that?
Unfinished business.
Yeah, my unfinished business has nothing to do with wins and losses. My unfinished business from day one has been about what this team is about, what these kids are about, and what they accomplish every day, and where their mindset is, and how they behave as individuals, not only on the field but off the field, in the classroom, and that's what it was for me. We never grade ourselves on wins and losses, because you're going to win a lot of games and you're going to lose some games, and if you live and die that way, your life's going to be up and down. But if you're striving to do the right things in every aspect, then I think we're doing things in the right direction. And I can't ask enough out of these guys. It's just a great, this group's as fun a group as I've ever been around. They get it. They're young, but it's a lot of fun to be around this team.
Hosting a Pac-12 television is a unique circumstance for you last year. Did you learn anything from that experience that you can take over this year?
We just hope we can do it again. So, you know, and again, it's in UCLA's hands, but that's all we're hoping for right now. We get that opportunity. So,
Coach, Alex Balducci had to come in, came here against Cal due to health issues. Now it looks like the defensive line is getting healthier. How much does that really help you now have one more piece of depth that you can rely on the rest of the season?
We still are missing a guy up front, and having Alex in there, you know, that second rotation of guys, and there was all true freshmen with Alex and DeForest and Eric Armstead, and they played a lot tonight. And when they're in, the best compliment I give them, you don't know they're in, you know, because we don't miss. You know, when Taylor and Isaac and Ricky are out, you know, those 3 young freshmen are in the game, but they don't act like 3 young freshmen. So he's been a great bonus to us, and we were real fortunate, especially this time we had to put him in the game to where he is now. We're really, really lucky that we had him, and it speaks to the depth on our defensive side of the ball. So,
Chip, can you talk about Kenyon setting tying the Michael James single season rushing touchdown record, 21?
Did he?
2010.
I didn't. Awesome. I didn't know what the record was, and I didn't know he said it. So
2010, 21.
He had 2010 touchdowns? What? I'm confused.
In 2010, Michael had 21.
Oh,
Kenyon tied that.
well, Kenyon's got a couple, hopefully a couple more games to beat that, so we can talk about that with him. So we got at least a bowl game and then hopefully a conference championship game, so we'll see if we can extend that number.
How much has his toughness been really helpful over the last few weeks? Because he's been playing dinged up, the hand injury. It looked like something happened in the first half. He's not hurt, but he's just playing through some injuries.
Yeah, Kenyon's always been a warrior, you know, and that he's every time we've called upon him, he's answered, and that's what makes him special.
Sorry to address this, but Anthony, sorry, was mixing it up. The player looked like he stepped on forward.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment one way or another.
Helps that it was addressed by somebody, not by him. So it wasn't addressed by you with Anthony.
I didn't see the play, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'll watch the film, and if I see something on film, I certainly will address it with him. So.
Any more questions for Coach Kelly?